We start this course with the simple present tense. This is Unit 1, and we are going to focus on affirmative and pay attention to the subject. What happens in simple present? First of all, when to use it? If I am describing my routine, my habits, or a general information, I have to use the simple present tense. Daily activities that we have, for example, eat, take a shower, sleep, get up, work, is a routine. So no confusion because it's simple present tense. Subjects I, you, we, they. Here we have the verb and the object. Subject, verb, object. This is the perfect combination. We are going always to identify the subject and immediately the verb. But there is an exception in the simple present tense unit. Third person singular. He, she, it. What happens to the verb? I have to include S in affirmative. He eats fresh fruit. She eats fresh vegetables. I can change it here, of course. When to add es? This is only for he, she, it. We have some verbs ending in sh, ch, x, and this is additional syllable. Wash, washes. Watch, for example, watch TV, watches. Fix, fixes. My mechanic fixes my car. So don't forget to include s if the sentence is affirmative, talking about third person singular, or additional syllable identifying the ending of the verb. We continue with negative in present tense. Here is necessary to use auxiliary do, not, making the contraction of don't. Only for the subjects I, you, we, they. Third person singular, he, she, it. The auxiliary does not, and you make the contraction of doesn't. Subject, here the contraction of negative and the simple verb. What happens here with the third person singular if you have the auxiliary? We are going to start paying attention whenever you have an auxiliary. The verb is simple, no matter what the subject is here. So, he doesn't work. If you have the S here, it's a mistake. It's not correct. She doesn't work efficiently. It doesn't work today. Well, here we have the negative in present tense and the contraction don't, doesn't, plus the simple form of the verb. We continue with questions. Yes, no questions are going to have a true answer. We have to be very careful with the auxiliary that there is a beginning of the sentence corresponding to the subject, so you can use it at the same time here in affirmative or negative. Do I eat fruit? Do you eat fruit? Do we eat fruit? Do we eat vegetables? Do they eat healthy food? Well, here you have do because the subject is this. But the true answer corresponds to the same auxiliary at the beginning of the question. Do they eat fruit? Yes, they do. Here is the same. Negative, no, I don't. No, we don't. No, they don't. Questions, if they are just no questions, you need true answers. In this structure, we are only focusing third person singular, he, she, it. Is necessary to use auxiliary does at the beginning. Auxiliary subject. Here, you need a verb. Does he eat fruit? The order is auxiliary subject verb. So don't forget that if you don't have a verb, no action. Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. Information questions. We present the question words, WH, with an exception of how long, how much, how many, and is WH word auxiliary according to the subject, and then the verb. Who do you teach? What does he teach? Why does he work? How does he play? The simple form of the verb is necessary here. It doesn't matter if here is he, she, or I, you, we, they, simple form. Why? Because auxiliary is do and does plus simple form of the verb. In these two sentences, no auxiliary is necessary. Why? Because who and what is at the same time the subject. Who and what is considered third person singular, so that's why you have to include S in the verb. Don't forget it, please. So, who works today? What happens there? Simple present plus adverb of frequency are these: never, always, usually, sometimes, rarely, often, seldom. And be careful how to use it. He never works because it's third person singular. You need S in the verb. I reinforce the affirmative sentences of this unit 1. She always works. It sometimes works. But I have I, you, we, they. Not necessarily it's only for third person singular, the adverbs of frequency. We can use it, for example, I always go to church on Sunday because it's a habit, it's a routine on weekends, right? And here, in the list of the adverbs of frequency, we are including in meaning and use other expressions. Every day is part of the simple present tense of this unit 1. Okay? So once a week, twice a week, once a year. Well, it's an activity that normally we do as a habit. Here is this list plus the other ones that I described in meaning and use. When we are having the adverbs of frequency with the verb to be careful in the use. Why? Because I have this section. I have the subject, immediately the corresponding form of the verb to be. In this case is MR, it can be is. And the adverb of frequency is after the verb to be. I am always happy. We are never sad. In the previous presentation, we presented I sometimes work very hard. So here is not the same structure. I have subject, verb to be, adverb of frequency. So this is the exception of the use of the adverbs of frequency.